Here's a thought. Imagine you see two stonemasons. A stonemason is someone who cuts, prepares, and builds using, well, stone. They're 30 meters apart and they're both working on a big project. You walk up to the first stonemason and you ask him, "Do you like your job?" He responds to you and says, "Well, I work in the scorching hot sun all day. The work can be monotonous. Carrying the bricks day after day can be backbreaking, and I'm not even sure if this project will be finished in my lifetime. But it pays the bills." You thank him for his time and you move on. You go up to the next stonemason and you ask him, "Do you like your job?" He says to you, "I love my job. I'm building a cathedral. Sure, I work in the scorching hot sun all day, and the work can sometimes be monotonous. And carrying the bricks day after day can be backbreaking, and I'm not even sure if this project is going to be completed in my lifetime, but I'm building a cathedral." What's the difference between the two of them? Well, the second one feels like he belongs to something that's bigger than he is. If I went and offered the first one a job that's a bit higher pay and a little bit less work, sure enough, he'll take it. Whereas the second one has a sense of loyalty attached to him because he feels a sense of purpose. He feels that he does the job because it's the job and not so it can pay off the bills. And that's the thought I wanted to share today. This story is from a book called Start With Why by a very famous motivational speaker by the name of Simon Sinek. And that's precisely the thought that I wanted to share, that with everything in my spiritual life, I should begin with one simple question, and that's why. Do you ever do that? Do you ever ask yourself, why do I pray? Why do I read my Bible? Why do I fast? Why do I serve? Why do I do these things? And why is it important to ask yourself why before beginning anything in the spiritual life? It's easy to be motivated, but motivation doesn't last long. I can be motivated by a hectic sermon to pray, and that's exactly what I do. I'll pray for a couple days, then one day I'll come home and I'll say, "Nah man, I'm too tired. I'm not gonna do it today." And another day I'll just be like, "I don't feel like it." Maybe one day I'll come and I'll be like, I'll just say something really quick just before I sleep, and then I'll go to sleep. And I lose that. And as time goes on, I'll completely stop. Or, New Year's, we make a resolution. I'm gonna read the whole Old Testament. Fly through Genesis, sort of stumble my way through Exodus, and by the time Numbers gets there, I'm a bit, I quit. Because motivation doesn't last long, but inspiration gives me stability in my spiritual life. When I'm inspired to do something. I like to compare it like, a wind-up toy versus a battery-powered remote control car, for example. A wind-up toy, all you do is you wind it up, you place it on the table or on the floor, and it zips around really quickly, and then all of a sudden, it stops. It comes to a sudden halt. But with a battery-powered car, it lasts longer. When I'm inspired, it lasts longer, and I'm in control. I have the remote, it's in my hands. So when I know why I do what I do, I am inspired. And that inspiration will give me stability in my spiritual life. If I ask myself the question, why do I pray? Have you ever asked yourself, why do I pray? Maybe it's to check it off the list. Or maybe it's, because you feel like it that day, or you heard a mad sermon and it motivated you to pray. But have you ever sat down before you prayed and actually asked yourself, why do I pray? It's actually a very simple answer. The reason is to have a relationship with God, so that I can be with Him, so that I can get to know Him, so that I can fall in love with Him. In the parable of the 5 wise and the 5 foolish virgins, when the 5 foolish virgins come late to the wedding, what is it that Christ says to them? He says to them, "I don't know you." Is it even possible that Christ, God, who knows the number of hairs on my head, and He knew me while I was still in the womb, could then turn around and say, "I don't know you"? It's possible. If I don't spend the time getting to know Him, then I'll never know Him. He'll never know me. We'll never have a relationship. I can't say I love God if I don't know who He is. I can't say I know Him if I don't spend time communicating with Him. And so that's what I need to do. And so that applies for everything in my spiritual life. Why do I read? Why do I pray? I pray so that I can have a relationship with God. And I move on from that, I feel like it, or I just want to check it off the list. Bible reading. I no longer am I just reading the Bible for the sake of knowledge, to increase in knowledge, or, for the sake of completion. I want to finish the whole Old Testament. But now I read it because I want to be transformed, because I want to be renewed. I no longer fast because it's an expectation of me and I don't want to be the odd one out. But I fast because Christ did it and He taught me to do it. And what about service? Why do I serve the poor? Have you ever thought, why should I serve the poor? Maybe for some people it's, because it looks good on a resume. Do a charitable deed, you put it on your resume. But that's going to end one of two ways. Either I get the job and then I stop serving, or I don't get a job and I definitely stop serving. Or do I serve the poor so that I can impress that girl or boy that goes to that service, that particular service? Again, either I get that person or I don't. Either way, it's not long lasting. I'm not going to continue serving the poor. But if I serve the poor because I know that Christ is in everyone, then I serve the poor because I'm directly serving Christ. I'm directly healing His wounds. And that for me should be my inspiration to continue serving the poor. So that's the thought that I wanted to share today. That before beginning anything in my spiritual life, I ask myself the question, why do I do what I do? Before I pray, before I open my Bible and read, before I serve, before the next fast, which in our church is always around the corner, before any of these things, I ask myself, why? Why do I do what I do? And that will give me a sense of purpose. And I hope that it gives us the inspiration to continue striving in our spiritual life. And glory be to God forevermore. Amen.